Welcome to the CMS Handy channel. Don't forget to subscribe. So today is buying a lemon review. Looking back, it was 2015. I started a business, snow removal, property maintenance. So I bought this truck. I was looking for, this is the newest truck with a plow in my budget. So I was like, hey, this is a good deal. Finding out it was a horrible deal. I paid $5,000 for this thing, and I'm pretty sure I paid more in repairs. The transmission was slipping, had to fix that. The everything you can think of. The computer fried, that was $2,500. So when you're looking for a used car from a private seller, look at the red flags. For this truck, one, it was a work truck. I purchased it from a body repair shop, and it just plowed that parking lot for most of its life. So many of these miles, yeah, it was 110,000 miles, which seems kind of low for this vehicle, but those were work miles. Those were hitting the grindstone miles. So I didn't think, I was more excited. I found something kind of more in my budget, it was newer and whatnot. As you look, this is kind of typical with the Dodge Rams dashboards. My truck now has the same problem, but that's just cosmetics. Don't really worry about it. Everyone's going to tell you that's the same thing. That dent there you see right there, that was my doing. I kind of didn't see a pull, and I kind of, and that's the snow for you. Looking at these red flags, this truck, thinking back at it now, years later, there was one, it was on its classified ad on KSL.com for like 65 days. That's a sign for you. The other thing is, when I took this truck down to get it checked out by somebody for 50 bucks at an auto repair shop, the check engine light was on, but he said, oh, it's just only the O2 sensor. But when little things happen like that, more big problems happen. Hint, when the computer fried on me when I was towing a horse trailer with this, which this truck probably couldn't handle it with the plow and all the weight on it. But all these little things, minor things that are like, oh, braking, like there's going to be bigger problems later down the road. And the work miles, that is a big red flag. Another red flag was the owner or the partner of the collision repair place. He was from Brazil. He kind of seemed a little sketchy in my opinion, but that's when you're buying from private sellers, you're going to get sketchy people. I can tell you more stories if you want to hear a story about one in San Diego that made me wait 5 hours. Please comment down below and I'll share that story in another video. So yeah, look for little red flags like, what's going on? Are they offended by some questions? Then they're not really telling the truth or being honest with you. The one thing with this seller, he kind of was a little bit pushy when I was in his office, and I mentioned the check engine light. Well, I was like, well, that's what you get, but that's just the check engine light. And I got him down $500, but he was like, well, if you get the cash today by such and such time, then we'll make that deal. Don't do this. That was my regret. Don't get into that emotional trap of, you got to have this truck today. Honestly, thinking about it today, I shouldn't say, your truck's been on there for 65 days. This is the part where you're in the when you're negotiating the deal, and you're like, I'm gonna call your bluff in a polite, honest way. Be like, you've had this thing for 65 days. I know you want to get it off your hands. My last offer is $4,000. And if he doesn't like that deal, then walk away, and you probably be happy that you did. And you maybe find out later that truck someone else bought and it was not worth it. So don't get in the emotional trap. For me at the moment, I am looking for a personal truck. I have a work truck that is super reliable. Um, I'm grateful for making networks for that truck. It's an older truck. It's the same model. No, it's a Dodge Ram 1500, but a 96, and it's got a specialty box in the back. But it had low miles at 72,000 miles, and the first problem I had was just the battery. But other than that, it's been a reliable car. But at the moment, I am looking for a little Tacoma, used, and I see one at work. He's a construction guy. Those guys, they put their tools in the back, and that's basically it they do, and they go to their work spot. So it might have some miles. We'll see. But I'm waiting on this one. I didn't go talk to him the first day because that was the first day he had it for sale. So I'm going to make him have the emotional problem, not me. And if someone else buys it, fine. It's not meant to be. But if it was meant to be and it goes my way, it was meant to be. So I'm just going to wait till the price drops, or wait to talk to him, and hopefully he drops his price. He's asking 45. It's a 2000 Tacoma extra cab. And besides the waiting game on the price, whatever he says, I'm gonna go with that number. If he goes down to 4,000 is the first number he says to me. And then I'll say, there is some little dings here, and I bet you anything it's gonna be approximately 150,000 miles is my guess. And I'm going to tell him, it's kind of high, a little high for me on miles, is what I would say. And, the bumper, you can look, the bumper's not completely straight. And be careful on picking out flaws, just because you can be offended. But when you go out there and your first time meeting the person, you want to shake their hands, introduce yourself, your name. You want to say your name and get their name. This is key. If you get their name, every time you talk to them, say, John, I like this truck. Don't say love. Be careful on that. But you like this truck. I think it's a good truck, but there is a little flaws here, John. That gets a more personal touch to them, and then they don't feel so much offended. And so with nicking down the things like that, you can get down the price maybe 500, 700, maybe 1,000, but don't lowball. Have to avoid this lowball method, because everyone gets offended by the lowball method. When you shoot out, he's asking 4,000 and you shoot out 1,000. That's a lowball offer. So have him throw out the offer first, and then you can talk about it first. Don't throw out a number right away. Go look back at the truck, touch the truck a little bit, look at little things, and talk to him about it. Talk about the history of the truck. Talk about maybe the trucks in general of the Tacomas, and maybe a really brief, I just went on this trip, or talk about his family, real brief. Don't get off the subject, and then go back to it. That little subject of gets a little personal spect, and then he likes you. You like him. If you can like each other, then he's more willing to go down. If you offend him, or they, or the girl, or whatever, by any means you offend them, then they're not willing to go down on the price. If they like you, they're more willing. Before you negotiate this price, by any means, not in the first meeting, take your time. Go say, you talk to them about the history. Don't ask them about the price quite yet. Wait on it until you're for sure this car is reliable. Don't just get it because it's blue or it's pink and that's your color in this car and it's rare. Don't do that. Go say, I like to get this car checked out by my mechanic. Is that okay? For this instance, for this guy, he's a construction worker at my job, and I'll tell him, don't worry about it. You know where I work. I know where you work. You know my boss. I know your boss. So he knows nothing's going to happen. Also, have a friend go look at it. Maybe bring a friend with you to, look at the truck, get a second opinion. Maybe you missed something that they saw, and then you can talk to them later after the visit. Also, they can also see, this guy doesn't seem right, or maybe this guy's really great. Gives you a second opinion, and that's always great to have, a great resource. And especially if you have a buddy or a friend that is really into cars and he can look for things. Things to look out for when you're looking at this car you're looking to buy. Jump on the back of the bumper. See how the suspension is. If it's really loose or it's kind of tense, tense is good, but if it's super loose and you probably want to, you don't want to avoid it, but it needs some repairs or something done. And then the tires. If you put a quarter in and comes like, I think halfway, it'd probably be okay, but there's usually marks on the tires, like tread marks, and if it's going down to that little mark, you got to repair that. You got to replace that tire. Another saving tip is get a code scanner. Usually they'll be the lowest about $15 up to $200, and all in that range. I'll put a link on a couple down below, $15 and maybe a few up to $50, $70. But that could save you money, because if you look at different cars and you're like, well, can I take to my mechanic? That will cost you $25. Or the guy says, no, I don't, or it just doesn't work out between you and the buyer and the seller. So it saves you money and it saves you time. I really highly recommend you getting a code scanner, and a code scanner gives you a code, and then you search that code and you can look up the problem, and then you can research the problem later. Remember, researching is key. Research the car's problems, how much is it going to cost you, and then call your mechanic. Hey, this code came up. What do you think about it? And they're like, it's probably not a big issue, or those types of cars have that issue a lot, and it's a pretty fixable issue, or it can be reversed, so it can save you hundreds or even thousands. I hope that you learned something from my experiences so you can avoid buying a lemon, but you can go off with confidence in driving your new car. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like my channel for upcoming videos